Good afternoon. My name is Isaiah Norwood II, and I am the current Research and Reporting Manager for Relay Graduate School of Education. So one of the things that I want to use this time for is to give a brief demonstration and a brief overview of Power BI and all of the different creative and cool things that the software can do to allow us to better enhance the way that we report and share and visualize data. So I'm going to be working between what might appear to be two different platforms, but they're one and the same. I'm going to be working from my Power BI desktop in addition to the Power BI online service. So let me pull up my Power BI desktop. And the Power BI desktop can be downloaded directly to your desktop computer or your laptop. So this is the basic Power BI dashboard. This is essentially our canvas in which we'll create very complex and comprehensive visualizations utilizing the data that we gather. So as you can see, the canvas is relatively straightforward. The operating system looks a lot like the Microsoft Suite because the Power BI software does run in the Microsoft Suite, and it runs on top of the Excel app specifically. So as you can see to our right-hand side, we have our fields, we have our filters, and we have our visualizations, right? So you can choose many different graphs and charts to display the kinds of data you want to gather. It all depends upon which key insights you're looking for. So the first thing we have to do is we have to download and get our data. So as you can see, there are many different sources from which you can gather your data. But for the purpose of this presentation, this demonstration, we're going to use Excel. So as you can see, I already have my PT data set preloaded, so I'm going to open that. And this particular data set has a couple different tables, a couple different sheets. But the great thing about Power BI is that the software is intuitive enough to recognize that there are many different tables and be able to manage data across tables. So we're going to download all of these different sheets. So depending upon how big the data set you're uploading will depend upon how long it takes for it to get to the desktop. So as you can see, our data has loaded at the far right corner under the field section. So if you click into these, you'll see the specific data segments organized by columns of the data that you have uploaded to your Power BI desktop. So in a real situation, one of the first things that I would do is I want to figure out what kinds of insights do I want to gather, right? Based upon the visualizations that I choose to use, what ultimately am I trying to demonstrate or convey to the person who requires a report or the person who's viewing the report? So for argument's sake, and for this demonstration, I want to look at and I want to know, based upon the number of total students that we have enrolled at the program for the campuses we've selected, how many male students relative to female students and vice versa. So what does that percentage look like? And how can we compare the two? So you can choose, and of course it's up to you which graph you want to choose, but for argument's sake, I'm going to use a pie chart. And so I'm going to very easily click and select the data I'm looking for, and I'm going to place it in my legend. And because I'm looking at all students, I'm going to click my student ID and place it in my value section. And as you can see, the Power BI software calculates this data on its own. So this is not something that we have to do manually when we are creating our visualizations. So this is relatively simple of the visualizations and the most basic of the visualizations compared to the more complex things that Power BI can do. And so I don't really like the way that my font is looking at the current moment. So in consideration of the people who will be viewing my visualization, I'm going to make some enhancements and some adjustments. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the font size of all of my titles and legends so that they are readable and legible when looking at the screen. So this is our basic pie chart. Now, the great thing about Power BI is that you don't have to continue to create new charts. You can simply select different charts for your liking depending upon how you want your data to be visualized. So I'm going to click on my report as I have, and I'm going to select a different chart. As you can see, the data is the same. The relationship is the same, but the visualization is different. And so depending upon what kinds of data you're using, depending upon what kind of visualization you want to accomplish, you can choose the chart that best represents the data you're trying to display. So what I want to do next is I want to save my report. I'm going to label this sample report 2. And because you're working on your desktop Power BI, you have to upload and publish a report to the online Power BI service. So we're going to click publish. So as you can see, the link we clicked on has taken us directly to our online Power BI service, and now we see our report. So from there, when we create many different reports, we can essentially create a dashboard. Now our dashboard can be an overall dashboard, or we can create a dashboard for very specific parts of data we want to show. So I'm going to add this to my student performance and satisfaction dashboard that I've already created. So as you can see, this is a dashboard that has been already created by me for many different segments of data. So we have student satisfaction by gender, student satisfaction by racial identification, a snapshot, student satisfaction by age, many different visualizations to capture different types of data. And as you can see, here are uploaded charts. So to demonstrate the complexity of Power BI, I'm going to click into my student satisfaction by state. So with this particular visualization, you can see the percentage of students, or really the number of students, and their different responses to different questions in the survey and the student satisfaction survey. And you can filter them out using a slicer according to state. So this is basically what Power BI does. It allows us to use large or small amounts of data to create visualizations that lead to key insights about our organization, what we're trying to accomplish. So in this particular report, the insights we're trying to gain is what is the overall student satisfaction of students at Relay Graduate School of Education. Not only do we want to know what the student satisfaction is, we also want to be able to distinguish and track this data across gender, across racial identification, as well as age and state. And the visualizations on Power BI allow us to accomplish that. So as a conclusion, I hope that this brief demonstration was helpful. If you happen to have any questions or concerns about details and specifics, or specific reports or specific segments of data you would like to see reflected in the report, please feel free to shoot me a quick email or shoot me a quick Zoom message. I appreciate you for your time and attention. Enjoy the rest of your day.